Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Rail Bros Studios. Today I have something very special for you. I have an Aurora Miniatures SD60F Canadian National North American Paint Scheme locomotive. This is Aurora Miniatures' very first locomotive that they have ever produced. They began research and development back in 2020, but unfortunately the pandemic stopped everything. So after 3 years, we finally have their first locomotive. Now look at this box art. It looks amazing. A lot of people are saying it harkens back to the old Athearn blue box art of their boxes, and I have one right here, as you can see. And it's this is amazing art right here. I mean, look at it. Conveys two different eras of American railroading. You have your diesel and your steam. But anyway, so let's get this out of the way, and let's get into this box. Now, it's a very, very nice box. It's a little smaller width-wise than an Athearn blue box, sorry, an Athearn Genesis box or a Scale Trains box. I mean, look at that art. It looks amazing. It's a little blurry, but whatever. That does not matter. So, into the box we go. There is our SD60 in its case, all nice and packed. So let's just slide her out here. And we'll put you down right there. And we have two other things inside this box. We have that amazing, look at that diagram on the instruction manual. It just looks great. Now it's very now this instruction manual is very similar to a Scale Trains instruction manual, where it doesn't really tell you the parts on it, or it doesn't have an exploded diagram. It just kind of offers you features, unpacking. We can say first time setup right here. As you want to pause that, you can read it. What does that say? Perform a break-and run of the locomotive by running it at various speeds in both directions for 1 to 2 hours. Interesting. And it also shows you removing the shell, and also some of there's the chassis and the actual motor and everything. Also in recent news, they did put out a little thing, a post on their Facebook group. On their Facebook, saying that there's a potential that the motor in this engine could have a bit of a fault when running at a medium speed. But this is a DC silent, so I really don't know if I'm going to be able to figure that out because I don't have any sound in it. Also in that box came this little stickers. These are stickers, and there's the sill stripe here. And then we have little stickers for first aid kit and also fire extinguishers and a few other things that are illegible even to me. So that would basically, these would be if, let's say you were to completely scrap all the paint off of that locomotive and you repainted it to, I don't know, let's say you wanted to turn it into your own, let's say you had your own freelance railroad, you could repaint this locomotive and they give you stickers so you can fix anything. So let's get the extra box off to the side and let's start getting this thing unpacked. You're going to need a screwdriver, first of all, because down here, this locomotive underneath the fuel tank is screwed into this black carrying bulkhead, as I want to call that. So let's just slide this out of here. It comes in this, it's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit scratched up, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see that very well on the camera, but it is quite scratched up, I think. But it is just plastic. Nobody cares. Whoops. Okay, let's get off to the side. And we can lift one of these off first, just like that. Clicks off. Perfect. And we're going to pull this foam plastic to keep them from folding in on each other. There is a little bag of extra roller bearings, and also inside that bag are a couple of side mirrors for right over here. Sorry, that shadow is awful. I'm doing this at midnight right now. I do apologize, because it was the only time I had, because I've been stressed all day. Let's pop that one off there. Set our bulkhead down. I will let you see the screws that are currently holding the locomotive in place. There they are in there. So, we gotta get our screwdriver out. I'm not going to subject you to me pulling that thing out, so I will get back to you in a minute. All right, now that we have the locomotive out of its protective bulkhead cradle, I'm going to give you a little bit of history about it. This history comes from Aurora Miniatures' website itself, so don't quote me if I'm wrong. It's what they wrote. The SD60Fs were built by General Motors Diesel, or GMD, in their London, Ontario shops in Canada between 1985 and 1989. It is a unique Canadian variant of the popular EMD SD60 Series X 6-axle diesel-electric freight locomotives, featuring a full-width cowl body and cab, with a tapered section immediately behind the cab for improved rear visibility. A total of 64 of these Draper tapers were built, all for the Canadian National Railway. They saw extensive mainline freight service on the CN network across Canada and the United States. All units were unfortunately retired in 2017. However, several units are still being used by second-hand owners today. Now, unfortunately, I could not find out what happened to 5537 here. Either it's been scrapped or it's been sent to a leasing company. So if you do know what happened to it, please let me know. I'd love to know what happened to my locomotive. So let's get into our details now. All right, now for the details. As you can see, this thing is loaded with details. I mean, Aurora went above and beyond when it comes to detail on this locomotive. Starting off here at the top, you can immediately see the bell. This is very unique to this locomotive, along with a few other types of locomotives. I believe the BC Rail -9 had a forehead mounted bell as well. I also want to say some -8 cowl bodies as well had forehead mounted bells. And also you can also see these aren't number boards. Those are painted onto the top of the forehead. The number boards are down here. Excuse me. And also above those painted numbers are 2 grab irons on either side. And as you can see, this locomotive has the Canadian Comfort cab. Basically, it was designed to keep the crew safer during a collision and also have a more comfortable ride. It's very distinct because of the 4 different windshields, as opposed to the regular EMD, which had 2 on the safety cab, or the Triclops variant, which had one middle one and then 2 on the sides. But anyway, we also have 2 sunshades, 1 on either side. And here's the interesting thing. They are adjustable. Now, the reason for that is because they have little wires, copper or brass wires, most likely brass, inside the sunshade. Now, unfortunately, on this side, there are paint chips. I'll be able to show you that in a little bit. And that came in the box, which means that when these were moved down by whoever put them like that, they definitely were a little hard on the sunshade. Now, right on the top of the nose, we have a grab iron here and a grab iron on the other side. We also have 2 sand filler hatches, one here and one here. You can also see another grab iron right here, so if you were to climb up, you can grab on and step onto the nose. Now, moving on to the actual nose, we have number boards as well as marker lights. One is red, green, and then I do not know what that right one is, because I do not have DCC sound function on this locomotive. It is DC silent. Moving across from the marker lights, we have more grab irons that run all the way down to the foot plate. As you can also see, the crisp CN noodle logo, which has been around since the 60s. On the door here, we have 2 stickers, a first aid kit and a fire extinguisher sticker. This is very common with most CN locomotives. They do have these, so that you know. We have high-mounted ditch lights, which is very unique to some certain CN locomotives. I believe this was for more safety, more visibility. And right there is the, I think that's the MU cable opening. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I am not an expert on locomotives. Down below here, towards the coupler and the plow, as you can see, this plow does have the V from the former zebra stripes from at least actually the 60s till at least 1992, which is what this introduction of this paint scheme came around, from 1992 to 1995. Now we have more MU cables down here, as well as the air hose, and if you can see it here under the anti-climber, there is the cut lever for the coupler. It's very, very hard to see, but you can see the ends of it right here, the 2 white marks right there. We also have handrails here that go down to the bottom of the locomotive. Now, let's quickly go ahead and take a look at the back of the locomotive. Moving on to the rear of the locomotive, you can immediately see a very big difference. There's only one headlight, which I found very, very fascinating. And above that run headlight is another painted on number, and more grab irons that lead from the top to the bottom. You can also see the sand filler hatch for the rear of the locomotive, as well as the chain holes for if you wanted to lift the locomotive. We also have another sticker right underneath the CN logo and a window in the door. You have to remember this locomotive is a full cowl body design, which means that if you needed to get inside and access the locomotive's engine, you need to actually climb inside the body, which is very loud and very hot from what I'm told from actual engineers. Now, we have once again the zebra stripe on the rear plow here, as well as the plastic coupler from Aurora Miniatures. This is their coupler. I was very surprised that it was not metal. Anyway, we have more cables here, another air brake hose, and as well as a spare knuckle for the coupler, in case that one would say, oh, I don't know, break. There's the rear anti-climber. In the same situation, the coupler cut lever is it's hidden underneath there, which is very interesting. We have more grab iron, we have more handrails right here on either side, and a chain. Now, let us look at the side detail. Looking at side detail now, we are currently on the conductor's side of the cab. Immediately you can see 5537 painted on the side of the locomotive just below the windows, and the Canadian National's locomotive classification, GF638B. On the cab door here, you can see another sticker for fire extinguisher, which means that there's one inside the cab. Down here, you can see the amazing and phenomenal truck detail. The fact is, you can't even see the drivetrain. Whereas on certain other models, manufacturers, locomotives, you can look into there and you can see the drivetrain that actually drives the trucks. Aurora Miniatures went out of their way to actually keep you from seeing it, which is amazing to me. That is phenomenal. Now you can see the yellow sill here, excuse me, and you can see a little F to indicate that this is the front of the locomotive, which is very interesting. You can, I don't know if you can really see, but you can see the draper part of the actual locomotive where it curves in a little bit off here. It curves in towards the cab and in where the dynamic brakes are. You can actually see through the dynamic. You can see through the grates here, which is very nice. I love that feature. This is where the dynamic brakes are held, and this is right up here where you would access the decoder. In fact, let me just flip it right here, and there you go. And you can also see the draper effect right here. So it even says SD60F. There is not a decoder in here. Will I put a decoder in there? I'm not sure. Also, you can really see the chipping of the paint there for the wire. I'm sorry, it's focusing on me. There you go. Let's put it back on our side here, and let's put that dynamic brake back on. Perfect. As you can see up here in the top right, we have the K3L, which is what I believe that is. I'm not exactly sure. Please correct me. And let's move it a little bit let's move it this way so you can see there you go. So you can see the CN North American logo. That lasted from 1992 to 1995 when it was replaced with the current scheme, which is CN with www.cn.ca underneath the CN logo. You can see the radiator fans up here at the top. I do not know why this one is covered like that. If somebody could please let me know. Unfortunately, you cannot see through this grate. That'd be really cool if you could, but you can see through that window. You can see right through it, which is very fascinating. Over here, let's also look at you can also see there is a little bit of detail. There's some lettering right here along the fuel tank, and it is just a gorgeous model. I really love this thing. It is just amazing. Overall, this locomotive is absolutely amazing. I love the amount of detail that Aurora put into this. They really did their research. And this is their first locomotive, remember. So, and it's affordable too. It's not like a museum quality locomotive that Scale Trains puts out where it's over, like $400, even for just a DCC ready. It's just amazing. And I recommend you actually get one if you can. I bought mine on Lombard Hobbies for $199, and I was lucky because they sold out of these things like fast, like incredibly fast. Now all they have for Aurora Miniatures is their 45-foot containers with opening doors, and that's pretty cool though. So, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe if you have not. It really helps a lot. And also hit the notification bell to know when we upload another video in the future. But thank you very much for watching this Rail Bros video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.